Hello and welcome. So I'm getting a lot of questions, a lot of messages. Sumit, what services do you use? What SaaS tools? What tools? How do you build Tresor One and the other tools and things like this? So I wanted to do a video on this and simply show you the most important tools and services that I use, that I pay for, in order to build Tresor One and other products and, well, businesses in general. Even though that might be a bit claim because my businesses are very, very small, but I'm, working on it. And these are the services and tools that I'm doing it with. So yeah, let's jump in. This is Tresor One. This is a dividend portfolio that, I've shown in on this channel quite a lot. I moved it to the Tresor One channel, although there is not a video yet. Anyways, this is what we are building, mainly on the side. So let's take a look at the underlying technologies here and services. So one of the most important ones is Auth0. Auth0 is for logins and basically the user accounts. So a user creates an account, they want whatever, two-factor authentication, login with Facebook or with Google or email password, etc. So you have a lot of complexity. The topic authentication, user accounts, basically, it's very complex. I don't want to build this myself. I don't want to be responsible for the passwords in the database and all that. There are people that can do this much better, much more securely. I don't want to know anyone's passwords, so I'm paying for that service. If you on Tresor One go on login, you will see a login screen, and that is hosted on Auth0, and that is done by Auth0. And they basically handle all the user accounts, right? That is the service that we are using. There are others like Okta and so on, but we chose Auth0, and I basically choose it for any product I build, and any new product I go for Auth0. I think they are a bit too focused on enterprise and not on startups. They are, it's more complex than it has to be in a lot of places, but nonetheless, I think it's a fantastic product, and we're using that. So that's that. And just one recommendation, I'm not saying use Auth0, use Okta, whatever, but if you consider building this yourself, storing the passwords in your own database, don't. Just pay for it. Next one, also very, very important, Stripe. And here I'm, of course, a bit biased. I think it's one of the best companies in the world. I work for Stripe, and I joined them because I'm such a fan of that product. So Stripe is for our payments. So if you go on subscribe on Tresor One, if you go for the Plus plan or some of the other plans in the future, you come to a Stripe hosted checkout page, and Stripe basically handles everything there. They own the credit card data. Like if you put in your credit card, I'm not storing that. I don't want to be responsible for that either. It has to be very secure, and they are the experts for this. So I pay for this. They handle the checkout experience. They handle, charging the customers on a recurring, cycle every month or every year or whatever the customer chooses. They can change their credit cards. They, will get reminded if it's not working. We'll try again. Prevents fraud. Like there are so many benefits to Stripe that it's a no-brainer for me. I'm using it in every product, and even the 1% climate contribution that we are doing now. So in Tresor One, if you subscribe, 1% of your subscription will go to carbon removal from the atmosphere, which is fantastic. So if you are a subscribed user of Tresor One, thank you for your contribution to saving our planet. This also goes through Stripe because they made it very, very easy. They have this project, and we, as I'm working for them, I should say we, but I'm not involved in that. So they found out which projects are the most awesome and are helpful. They have great advisors here. So I'm trusting them, right? That they make the good choice of which products to pick. And they basically enable any business that works with Stripe to just tick a box and say, you want to contribute to that, how much % of your revenue. You can do that as a business. And hopefully it creates from all of us together a meaningful contribution to prevent or at least help a bit on the climate change front. So that's Stripe. That's for payments. Now Database, also very important. We use MongoDB. There are others, of course, but MongoDB, it's huge. They know what they are doing, and for me, it's very easy to use. It's not necessarily that I'm a database expert and think, okay, this database is better suited or this one. I think for my use cases, which are not very special, like the big databases will all be sufficient, and I know MongoDB a bit, so I'm using that. And I'm using a hosted version here from them, MongoDB Atlas. I'm doing most of the stuff that I do managed. Like, I want to go as high level as possible, not low level. I want to have the things abstracted away from me, so I don't have to, fiddle with servers or things like that. I just want to build the products and have other people take care of the infrastructure. So I use a managed database on MongoDB. We are here already at it's called an M20 cluster. That means we pay by now quite a lot, or at least for our dimensions, a lot for dedicated database and performance. Now, the website itself, all of our web-based client apps, that means our website Tresor One and the web app, where you actually track your portfolio, they are hosted on a service called Rewardful. Previously, they have been called Zeit or Zeit. I'm trying to get to the landing page. Let me see if I can get to the landing page somehow. Home. There we go. This is Rewardful, and they are an amazing company in my opinion. I think they did a very, very great service to front-end development in general, made it easier and much more flexible, and just abstracted away so much complexity. So I don't ever fiddle with like SSL certificates or which domain points where or whatever. I do that a little bit, but all of that is automated, and it's very, very easy to use with Rewardful. So even though you will see I use a different provider for my backend, and I could host everything there, including the frontend, I like Rewardful so much. I like the team behind it. I enjoy the tools that they create, open source, like Hyper, the terminal that I use, the framework that they do Next.js. I'm not using that, but I know it's awesome, and so much more. So I'm a fan of them. I think I pay a little bit more than I would at some other provider, but I think it's worth it. I really enjoy it, and I'm using it also for every product that I start. Then we have render.com. It's a very simple, I would say, backend infrastructures, or let's say hosting service for microservices and things like that. You can also host databases there and things like Redis. So we are using that. We have our APIs there. We have our Redis there. Basically everything that is not the front-end clients, we have at Render, on Render. And it's very abstracted. Like I maybe define, the power of the instances and how many instances I want, but yeah, it's very abstracted away. That also means it's a bit of a black box sometimes. But if you can manage to work with that, I don't have to fiddle with AWS or the configs there or something like this. So it saves me a lot of time. If we have to go more like a level deeper, then it becomes a problem, and then we may have to switch at some point to AWS. But currently, we focus on building the product and not the infrastructure, and that means we have other people taking care of that. And for our infrastructure, that's Render. Then, of course, we use GitHub. For all of my projects, they are hosted on GitHub. Like the code is hosted on GitHub. You have the Tresor One organization there, and then all of my private repositories and so on. So GitHub is the place to be for my code. I also use GitHub Desktop and the various integrations into my code editor and things like that. So, and it's also where we track our progress, right? It's where we create our issues and have our roadmap and our discussions about code architecture and so on. So the team lives on GitHub and works there. So it's also kind of project management. Then communication through Slack, I think that's a no-brainer. I mean, there is Microsoft Teams and maybe others, I think. There was something else. But anyways, I think Slack is what most companies choose. I think there was even something from Atlassian once, but I think it's not there anymore. Anyways, so yeah, we use Slack for communication, and not only the core team, but we have also some more people in our Tresor One Slack. And basically any company I worked for uses Slack as communication, written communication, in addition to email, of course. Then we have Plausible. Plausible is our website tracking, so you can see these are the stats for Tresor One. It's privacy friendly. Let me quickly check if I can go to the homepage. No, that's not where I want to go. I want basically to go where the benefits lie, but it's very privacy friendly. It has no like personal identifiable information that is being tracked, no IPs or whatever. So I don't need cookie banners, for example, to just know how many people visit the site, because I don't know who visited the site. And I can't find out. It's just how many. So that's pretty awesome. We pay for it, so it's not free. Google Analytics is free, but we pay for this in order to have more privacy for the users. I use Nuxt.js as a front-end framework. So this website here is built with Nuxt.js, and Tresor.one is also built with Nuxt.js. It's a nice framework. Check out the intro. It's built on Vue, so it's another abstraction layer, and it's awesome. So I'm also using that for any project that I build. I'm very proficient with it, and I'm like, there is no need to learn something else. If all your needs are covered here and you are fast with it, you don't want to build a product to get a business running and not learn something new, at least not from a framework perspective, then I just use Nuxt and go with that. On the backend side, we use Fastify as a framework. I have no big preferences here regarding frameworks. I didn't choose that, the team chose it, and I'm happy with it. For me, Express or some other frameworks would have been just as efficient, but in this case, I trust the team, and we are very happy with Fastify. My editor of choice is Code, Visual Studio Code from Microsoft. It's awesome. I think it's the best one out there, and you're a fool if you're not using it. It's free, it's open source, and it's mind-blowing how often they release features and how good it has become. So it's definitely a no-brainer. Grafana, a very new service in our portfolio of services that we are using. This we use for monitoring. So we monitor our backend services. How's the health of our prices and so the quotes, the stock quotes, or the traffic on the website or against the API, etc. Is everything healthy, everything up, any problems, etc. So we have still a long way to go on the monitoring side, but this is what we have started with, and the dashboards look like this, so they are quite good. Maybe can copy over some of them to Tresor One. Emails. We send a lot of emails. We send emails for welcome new users. We send emails for password forgotten, and we send emails like a monthly update. We might send more emails in the future about stock alerts if the user wants to have it, or weekly summaries and whatnot. And with 20K, 25K users, this becomes a lot. So I think by summer we will send around 100,000 emails per month. It's expensive and it needs to be reliable. This is what we use MailChimp for. We basically, every time we send a monthly email, update email, we have to increase our plan in MailChimp, which is expensive. So that's it. But service works well. It's nice. I'm not a fan of the UI. I'm not a fan of this font. I'm not a fan how they structure the navigation and so on. I actually really don't like it. I'm having such a hard time finding anything there, but it works kind of. So if you know where to find the 5 things you use all the time, it becomes okay. But if you search anything out there, I'm normally clicking like 15 minutes through the UI until I found something, and probably I Googled it then. Yeah. Anyways, it works very well. It sends out all the emails, nothing is blocked. Everything arrives. You have some nice stats. And I can recommend MailChimp, but there are also alternatives like SendGrid or ConvertKit or things like this. With SendGrid, I mean, if you pay for a dedicated IP, it might be good, but on their shared IPs or whatever, it was not very good. We switched from that because all of our iOS, like iCloud, blocked their IPs. That means our Apple users or our users that use iCloud, Apple mails and things like this, no email arrived, nothing. So yeah, not good. But with MailChimp, everything works great. Circle is the underlying technology for our community. So this might look a bit familiar if you are active in the Tresor One community, and that's that's the reason we use Circle. That means our community gets new features, apps, and stuff without us doing a thing. Of course, we pay for that, but I think it's a fantastic platform to build our community on. Kenny, a service that I think is really great. So it's the feedback tool that we have, but it's very, very, very expensive, I think, especially if you don't use it to its full extent and if you have a free version of your product and you offer them to do feedback, because you pay for every user that upvotes or comments. And if you have 20,000 users and like 1,000 of them are paid, like the cost will go out of like they are not comparable. So even though I think Kenny is a great service and they build a great product, and I think they're also bootstrappers and stuff, which I want to support, I just can't afford having all of my users do feedback. So I limited it to pro users. Kenny obviously doesn't want that, so it's a bit complicated to do this on my side. It's not easy on their side. Only if I think I have to pay more or something like this. So this is probably something that in the future we will just do ourselves. We just want a simple upvoting feature, and the posts I think we can do on Circle, like in the community, and then we build the upvoting ourselves around it, because Circle doesn't really have a good, like they have likes, but you can't really use it as a feature request priority thing. I would love to use Kenny, but yeah, I just can't afford it on scale. Then Workspace from Google, or Google Suite, how it was previously called, G Suite. We use that for the emails, right? My email, sumit@Tresor1, or the team's emails and things like this. So we use that. We don't use much more of it, but it has a lot more capabilities. We will, of course, use like customer support email inboxes. And maybe if Tresor One grows, we can do much more with that. But currently, we just need it for company email. And the last tool I will show you is Rewardful. It's a very recent addition also, and it's the tool we use for our affiliate program. So we have a very tiny affiliate program that we use with a very, very selected group of people, and we basically don't add anyone. So if you would like to participate, don't ask. That's not how to get in there. We basically look at the influencers or the sites or whatever who promote Tresor One anyway. So they like Tresor One. They think it's a great addition to their audience. They basically became kind of champions, or what's the word I'm looking for? There is a word for that. If brands have a ambassador, they became basically ambassadors already for Tresor One. Then we asked them, hey, do you want to be in the Rewardful? We want to give back. You are sending users our way. We can see your audience is very interested. You are helping your users to navigate Tresor One, help with support, etc. So we can see they are a good fit. They also express the same values that we have, etc. And then we just asked them, hey, would you like to participate a little bit in the users that you send over? Here's an affiliate link that you can use, or multiple ones. We invite them then to this program, and they get a bit of a share of the revenue that the users that they send create. But again, we are very, very selective here. simply because we never want anyone to recommend Tresor One because they are paid. This is not what we want, and this is not the brand that we want to have. That's why this is a very tiny affiliate program, and we have no plans of expanding it and letting people sign up or something like this. Okay, so these are the tools that I use for Tresor One and other projects like Geoman or maybe some others that are in the works. And I hope you got some inspiration and could do a look. I basically can recommend all of them or most of them. I mentioned which ones I might switch or something, but the big ones I'm very happy with: Auth0, Stripe, Versal Render. These are core products for us, GitHub. We will continue to use them. And, they get, like, these are huge companies behind it. They get better all the time. So I have a very big vote of confidence that they will suit us very well going into the future. All right, that's it. Let me know what you are building with these tools, or if you have alternatives that I should take a look at. Comment down below. And once you left a comment, or even if you didn't, subscribe and like and all of that. I wish you a good day and see you in the next one. Bye.